importance. So we had a bit of a setup, as we usually do with episode 1, to give us a little indication of where we might be heading. Not rugged individualism, a modernist view. Modern society increasingly elevates rugged individualism, where the self is seen as an isolated and self sufficient entity. This view contradicts the Catholic understanding of the person as fundamentally relational. This modernist exaltation of personal autonomy, disconnected from duties to family and community, has contributed to a weakening of family structures. Men are often portrayed as either unnecessary or even harmful to family life, and their responsibilities toward their wives and children are diminished. The Catholic vision reminds us that true freedom is not in isolation, but in communion with God, with family, and with society. Saint Joseph stands as a corrective to the modern image of the isolated individual. He is deeply bound to Jesus and Mary, living his vocation through service, not self promotion.
Yeah, I think, and not only is it not the stereotypical definition of the church's understanding of um, personhood, right, as being part of a society. That is the classical understanding of the human person, right, as well, right? That man is by nature, going back to Augustine, to Aristotle, that political animal. And by political animal, it means that he lives in society.
That's
And
right.
there is a problem with and not so much that the church itself is political in the sense of having two parties, Democrat or Republican. I'm not talking about politics in regards to that. I'm talking about politics in regards to the social relationships that man is going to engage in. And there is a real problem, particularly in that modern structuring of political society. And I think that you're right, that rugged individualism, which in America has been really strongly influenced by Ayn Rand and that libertarianism streak that runs through, that does believe that the individual person takes precedence in society over the family. And that is really problematic because the individual in and of themselves cannot continue society, right? So if your building block, if your foundation is being built upon an individual, you have one generation, right? I mean, there's no life-giving element. God did not make it so that one person can carry on his own seed, right? Man, by the way that he created us, man is made male and female, and male and female must come together for the cooperation, both of the good of the state to create children who can continue to expand the state and maintain all of the necessary things that are like provisions and different things like that that would be necessary within the state, but also within the heart of the church. That masculine and feminine quality, that those attributes are essential to the life giving within the church. And when you have that rugged individualism, it's as though you're trying to ride a unicycle, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
no balance at all. And in society, maybe you have like that bicycle, right? You've got that double wheel, which can move of its own volition as long as there's that constant motion, right? But the church provides us that three-legged stool, right? Where you have man, wife, and God, right? And there is going to be the greatest stability going forward.
That's right. And we're going to pick up right there with that very thought. Integral to a family is both a father and a mother. The family thrives when both the father and mother are present, cooperating in their complementary roles. The masculine and feminine are not interchangeable. Each brings essential gifts. The father offering strength, provision, and protection. The mother offering nurture, tenderness, and formation. Children flourish when they witness the loving unity of their parents. They learn the meaning of love, sacrifice, and duty from the daily interactions of father and mother. The absence of either figure creates a deficit that is deeply felt in the emotional and spiritual development of a child. Thus, the Church affirms the vital importance of both fatherhood and motherhood in building strong families and healthy societies.
Yeah, that is really it in a nutshell, right? That it's almost as though we have put ourselves in opposition with how we are created, the order with which we are created, when we strive to create a society that demands that each individual be responsible for him or herself, because that's never what it was intended to be, right? We are called to live in communion with one another, just in general. But then when you bring in the beauty, as we've talked about within the Catholic Church, of that sacramental life of marriage, which is the unity of two particular individuals who yield themselves, right, who submit themselves one unto the other for the betterment of each, right? That when society leaves that, and I'm going to go back to that idea that we had talked about just a minute ago with that three-legged stool, right? The one trying to ride a unicycle is very, very difficult. Riding a bicycle will keep you going as long as you're moving, right? As long as you keep going, you can maintain your balance. But it really is only with that third aspect, when you have that sacramental life with God, that you have an absolute strong foundation to the life that needs to be lived for the betterment of both the family itself and society at large.
That's right. That's right. Whenever, so we always start with the ideal. Okay. Whenever one is lacking, the mother or the father, for some reason, variety of reasons, a substitute should be found and communities should assist. Despite the ideal, life in a fallen world often results in circumstances where one parent is absent, whether through death, abandonment, or other causes. In such cases, the broader Christian community has a sacred duty to step forward. Grandparents, godparents, mentors, and the parish family should strive to supply what is missing to the best of their ability. No child should feel completely bereft of paternal, or maternal love. The Church herself, as mother, seeks to enfold the wounded within her arms, and spiritual fatherhood and motherhood remain possible, um, and are vital ministries within the body of Christ. St. Joseph himself was not Jesus' biological father, but was nonetheless a true and loving father. His example reminds us that true fatherhood transcends biology. It is a vocation of service, protection, and sacrificial love.
Yeah, it's that unique reality of God becoming man and how he has to engage with humanity, right? How does he become what he is? Well, become what he becomes, I guess, as it is, and maintain being who he is. And it's an interesting concept that he recognized that even despite the fact that St. Joseph fulfills a natural role of paternity for him, he's not necessary for him to become who he is, right? Everything is sufficient in the Blessed Mother per se. But that's such a unique case, right? I mean, obviously there's only one person who is like that. The rest of us who are brought into a family have to share in both the natural life of our mother and our father in the best case scenario. But we recognize that as a result of that because paternity can be both natural and supernatural, that man, even when he is not a father in nature, is still called outside of himself to be paternal in all things. And I think we've really lost that, right? Father, it's as though boyhood, right, has become the premier the child boy is what has been projected out into mankind today. The needy man, the selfish child, the greedy, right? All of those things appear to be the preeminent attribute of man now in society, because that element or that reality that to become fully what you are is for a man to become paternal,
That's right.
and
That's
in its best case. And we see that really profoundly in Saint Joseph, who, although he never gave rise to natural children, yet he became the premier, the archetype, right, of what a true father is for us. I mean, to know what a father ought to be, one only need to really um, learn to love Saint Joseph
that's
and become closer to him.
that's right. All right, friends. Let us pick up in the next episode. Um, till the next time, Fides et Ratio. Okay.